You know, I'm gonna go see if my wife wants to learn how to set tile. I think a lot of people do. I mean, if you think about it, who wouldn't want to learn how to do tile? I mean, if I die, wouldn't you want to know how to do it? So let's see. Hey, you want to learn how to set tile? No? Yes?
I'll pass.
Okay, more fun for me. Who passes on learning how to set tile? It's like the old saying, you teach a man to set tile and you never have to call a tile guy again. Absurd. Well, more fun for us. Hey, what's up guys? I know a lot of people are always intimidated by the concept of laying tile, and to be honest with you, there's a lot of mistakes that you can make, but for the most part, it's an easy process if you take in consideration a few key important details. The first things a homeowner does when taking on a tile job is they go to the hardware store and they pick out the tile that they like. Like in this situation, this is a tile that we picked out at a local hardware store. We like it, it's pretty, and it hit our budget. Once you get your pretty tile picked out, it's important to find out the material that the tile is made out of. It could be stone, it could be porcelain, it could be ceramic. In my situation, the tile you see behind me, the tile you see right here, it's a ceramic. So we'll need a thin set that's specifically catered to ceramic. Not too far from the tile that you picked out in the store, you will see the thin set section. This is the material that'll be used to actually set your tile in place. And on the bag, it will say ceramic. All right, so we got our tile, we got our thin set. Now let's talk about the tools that we'll need to tackle on this job. In the back of your thin set bag, you will see the directions of how to apply or actually mix this material. Now, what I'll also tell you is the type of trowel, the tool that you'll need to apply this material. In this situation, we'll need a 1/4 inch trowel. Here is our trowel. These gaps are 1/4 inches apart, and that's gonna be exactly what the manufacturer recommends when it comes to applying and setting this tile. Now, obviously you'll need a bucket to mix everything in, and what you'll want to do is have it mix up to a consistency of some sour cream. Now, the big question is, how do we mix that stuff up easily? Well, the solution is a mixing paddle. These are very inexpensive, probably around 10 bucks or so, and it just connects to your handy dandy drill. Once you turn it on, it'll add some water, spin it, and it'll be good to go. Now, the rest of the tools that'll be required for this tile job are the mechanisms that will cut the tile. So there's a couple options you have. Let's start with the inexpensive one. First things first, we have a tile brake, and this is a very simple device that costs, I believe, under 30 bucks, perhaps even 20. And what you do is it has a little slide and a little razor blade underneath here, a wheel-shaped razor blade. And what it does is creates a small little sear on top of your tile, very fine. And then this little rubber piece flips down. And once it flips down, we compress it slowly. It uses this little fulcrum of a piece of metal, and it snaps the tile in half. I know that's weird to envision, but let me show you how it works. All right, let's see it in action. So here's our tile piece. Let's say we need to make a cut, I don't know, 4 inches off the tile. So mark it at 4. Flip her down, set her in place, bring the little sear over. One little fine razor blade sear. You can see it on camera here. It's not very big. Flip the rubber piece down, give it a gentle slow break, and voila. There's our cut. Very inexpensive, very easy project to tackle on with this little tile brake. And of course, we have the tile saw. This is slightly a little bit more expensive. You can get you about one for $100 to $150 at your local hardware store, or you can score something like this on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist for, I think I got this one for a killer deal, 60 bucks. Lady was moving, awesome. Enjoy your move, lady. And the way tile saws work is they have this abrasive diamond coated blade that is not enough to cut your finger, but it creates a perfect abrasion to actually cut through the tile. Now, when tile is typically cut, the material it's made out of turns into a fine dust that you are breathing, and it's really damaging to your lungs. And at the same time, the tile is so brittle that it tends to crack and break very easily. So these tile saws are typically pumped with water as they're cutting to keep the dust particles down, but also at the same time, keeping the brittle tile from snapping. So in this particular situation, this fairly inexpensive tile saw has a little pool of water here that gets picked up by the blade as it's cutting to do this exact same deal. Now you're wondering, well, how does a tile saw cut? Well, let me show you to you in action. This is our little fence that comes into place. Let's say we want to make a cut, I don't know, about yay big. We'll lift this thing up a little bit. We'll turn it on. It's gonna get a little loud here. And there's our cut. Tile sauce is always the big win.
Tile sauce is always the big win.
Now, if you're wondering, well, if a tile break is fairly inexpensive compared to a tile saw, why not I just use a tile break for the entire project? Well, in certain situations, you need to make a notch and a weird cut that a tile break can do. Here's a perfect example of it. As you can see, all these pieces were cut with a tile break, but this piece had to be notched out. That was a perfect opportunity to use a tile saw. Now, you can get away with using an angle grinder with a specifically approved wheel that's used for ceramic tile. But again, very hard to cut tile in a dry environment without it cracking. And lastly, when it comes to tackling on any kind of tile project, is you'll need a bunch of these. These are just very cheap, very inexpensive tile spacers. They come in a variety of sizes. This is an 1/8 inch gap. I like 1/8 inch, it's not bad. It keeps a nice clean look. This is a prime example. They sit right in the intersection of the joint to keep the perfect spacing over and to the sides of the tile. Once they dry, you just pull them out and you're ready for the grout. So very inexpensive, very important key to actually having a nice, clean, symmetrical job like that. Now, we've seen the tools, we've seen the materials that are needed. Let me show you a quick little run through of when it comes to actually setting the tile that you've cut to size into the area they're working with. So let's start setting the tile. We're gonna use our trowel, take a nice hunk, and start smothering and applying it. Things get messy, not a big deal. Okay, so once you have your first layer on, at that point, we're gonna flip our trowel over and use these 1/4 inch gaps that are very important for this thin set and this tile that we're applying. We're gonna flip it over and grade it over. Now, what you wanna do is you want to have the backing, the flush part of the wall covered in thin set, but also these grooves covered in thin set. Any areas that has this light, transparent area might need a once over. There, I feel comfortable with that. Now the next part is one of the most important parts in setting a tile. Typically, if you start slapping this stuff on, what it'll do is, because of how uneven the wall is and different pockets that are inside of this tile piece, is you'll create these air pockets. So what that means is, over time, there'll be stronger and weaker sections of this tile, and it will pop off. Very annoying. Fixable, but very annoying. So, to help minimize that, there's a process called back buttering. And what you do is you put a little chunk of thin set on top, and you scrape it, covering the entire piece. Now, before I cover it entirely, I want to show you this. Typically, tile has these little pockets, grooves, that are inset or indented inside, and that's the area that's basically meant for the thin set to sit in. And what you want to do, put a small amount and just scrape it off. Essentially, you're buttering toast. Once you get it on, and it looks just like that, nothing heavy, nothing crazy, not even a 16th on there, very light. Then you can start applying it here, and what you want to do is give it a little wiggle, just to allow all the parts to actually settle in. Excess will get squeezed down. We'll take our little spacers, put them in place, and now we're ready to put the next set of tiles in line with it. Voila! So it's important to note here that the amount of thin set that I put on are kind of in small chunks. You don't want to start covering a huge surface area and then taking your time to get to it, because the thin set might dry and it won't be good. So just do small sections at a time. In this situation, it was 1.5 feet by the height of the tile piece. These small little blocks works the best. The tile doesn't dry, and you have perfect opportunity to set them safely and securely.
Hey, how come you don't want to learn how to tile? I don't understand.
You're just so good at it.
You're right. I am. When you're right.
I'm gonna take that away from you.
When you're right, you're right. I'll just do it. No, you're fine. In fact, more fun for me. You go, have fun.
Well, that is it for me this week. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found it helpful to any degree. If you're a professional tile guy, I know you're gonna tell me these weird comments below. I've been a tile guy for 40, 50 years and shut up, all right? We're just teaching people how to get started, and that is it, all right? I'm just kidding. If you guys have any questions, write them in the comment section below. If you found this video any bit helpful, please like it, share it with your friends, and please hit that subscribe button, because we have videos like this coming out a ton. And make sure you watch this video of this full renovation. If you don't know yet, this used to be a tub area. So big reno done. Anywho, tune in this week. We'll see you guys next week. See ya. Bye.